Hello, hello. I apologize. Like Elvia said, wouldn't be a rock star entrance without being a little bit fashionably late, correct? Anyway, technological fails along the way, but I hope your Monday is starting off great. My name is Amanda Ashley. I'm your host. This is Afternoon Cocktail. And I brought along with me some pretty amazing guests. I got Mr. Cooper Scotty, who's a local singer-songwriter to Rochester, New York's music scene. He's going to perform for you a few of his original songs. And I've also brought along with me Rochester sweetheart, Mr. Elvio Fernandez, an amazing soul, amazing artist. I can't wait to speak with both of you guys. So I'm going to start us off right away and just get into it. Cooper Scotty, you want to take us away with your first song?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Tell us the name of it.
All right, so it's called How You Do That.
Awesome, let's hear it.
All right. I'm tripping all of my words because of you. Pretty blonde hair, blue eyes, and no tattoo. When you look like that, girl, how can I refuse? You got the love that take a little jealous. Full of heaven, my own taste of a standard textbook beauty queen. How can I resist? I'm looking at your lips, the curve of your hips. Oh, oh, oh. You know how to make me fall in love. Doesn't matter if your hair's down or if it is up. When I look at you, I'm somehow in your control. In your control. How you do that? How you do that to me every time? How you do that? How you do that to me every time? How you do that? How you do that? How you do that to me, girl? How you play the girl next door act so well. You know you rock my world. I'm under your spell. Oh, oh. You got the luck that you can find in magazines. Right out of a book, feeding up a fantasy. I'm all yours, or you are mine. Maybe we'll just give it some time. Oh, oh, oh. You know how to make me fall in love. Doesn't matter if it is down or if it is up. When I look at you, I'm somehow in your control. In your control. How you do that? How you do that to me every time? How you do that? How you do that to me every time? How you do that? How you do that? How you do that to me, girl? Maybe there's something else, some kind of gypsy spell that lets you take my mind, but I don't care why. How you do that, girl? Oh, how you do that? How you do that? You know how to make me fall in love. Doesn't matter if it is down or if it is up. When I look at you, I'm somehow in your control. In your control. Oh, oh, oh. How you do that, girl? How you do that, girl? How you do that? How you do that? How you do that to me, girl? How you do that? How you do that? How you do that to me, girl?
Woo, Cooper Scotty. Swooning the ladies, I like it. Good song. So that one's fresh off the press, right?
Yeah, I just wrote it a few days ago.
Yeah. Do you want to tell me about it? What's the inspiration behind it?
Well, so like when I was writing the song, like I kind of wanted to write like a happy love song because literally all of my songs are either about heartache or just like really like kind of like I don't know, not hateful, but like they're never really like positive. Like I've never really written like a positive love song. And so I just kind of came up with this chord progression and I kind of like I wasn't about to make it another sad like song. So I just wanted to make something that was really happy and something, you know, like joyous, something like, you know, like that talks about like falling in love with a girl and all that, you know, because like it's something we all go through. I mean, so is like heartache, but like I just felt like I just really wanted to make a song that was just like one of those romantic, cheesy love songs, you know.
Well, I dig it. It sounds great. So now you have
Thank
a
you.
number of songs recorded and you have an album out, correct?
Yeah. So I have an
Awesome.
album, Young Strangelove, on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, pretty much name a place you can listen to music, and it's on there. It's on all of them.
The recordings sound really great. Where did you record your album?
So I recorded it with Mike Gladstone of Tone Search Studios. I got to plug
Good
that.
choice. He's awesome. I
Yeah,
recorded a song with Mike
he's
and it was like awesome. Great
yeah, he's
experience.
really fantastic. Like he's just a wizard at what he does. Like
Mhm.
you'll give him something that's like kind of there, and then he'll just make it like totally magical. Like he puts his magic on it, and once he does that, it's totally just amazing. It blows my mind.
I love watching his brain work as he's doing all these things. Like
Yeah,
he's a genius. He's really
mm,
amazing. Elvio,
yeah,
you know a little bit about Mike Gladstone.
Yeah, he's one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
well, LVO was one who recommended Mike Gladstone to me, so I have LVO to thank for meeting him.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's done some really great recordings for other friends of mine as well, and yeah, he's awesome. Can't talk
Mm.
highly enough about Mike.
Yep.
So a little later, well, you guys just saw LVO, and a little later we'll be bringing him in to ask him a few questions. But you're a product of Camp Rockstar, which is LVO's camp.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your experience. How long have you been a part of it? What's one thing that walking, at the end of the day from Camp Rockstar Camp that you feel great about?
Honestly, it's just such a fantastic program, and I'm not just saying that because LVO's in here and I'm trying to like
Yeah, whatever.
it's just such a fantastic program. You know, you got like great people like Matt Stevens, Matt Edwards, Johnny Cummings, like just these fantastic coaches that just really know like just how to like work with kids. And just I've met so much of my family there. Like everybody from BB Dang and everybody from Primrose, you know, like you just kind of meet like-minded musicians, and it's just a great program if you really just want to like connect with people that are kind of like the same musically wise as you know. It's just such a fantastic program. Like I'm so glad I'm a part of it. And so I've been with Camp Rockstar. Elvia, what is it, about like a year, maybe 2 years?
I think you're a couple years at least.
Yeah, so but I'm sort of, I mean, I guess I'd say like a little bit more recent, way more recent than a lot of the members. A lot of the members have been in there like since like they were like what, like Bella,
11.
yeah, like 11. Yeah, so that's
She's been in for probably 8 or 9 years. Yeah, you're one of the newer ones for sure, but I think it's been a couple years.
Wait, hold on a second. How long has Camp Rockstar been around?
So we started as a 1-week summer camp back in, I believe it was 2009.
Oh, wow.
And that turned into 2 weeks of a summer camp. And then the biggest complaint I would get from the kids was, I don't want to wait a whole nother year to do this. This is so much fun. So then I decided to kind of play off of the model of travel sports where you rehearse once a week and then you have your games. So I took that model and just turned it into a year-long academy. So
I love it.
that's been about, I think about 2.5 years now as a full-time, or, you know, a year-long academy. So.
Yeah, I didn't realize that this was, I thought it was only that 2 years old. Like, I didn't realize that you had done that in the past.
No, yeah, we did summer camps every summer for years. We used to do them at the Harley School, then we moved to the Lyric Theater, and then we still do the summer camp, but the year-long academy is all year long, and then we have our 2 weeks in the summer that we do our summer camp as well. So.
Great. So, Cooper, going back to you for a second, Tell me what's on your playlist, because your guitar playing sounds, it has some jazzy influences. Your voice kind of has like a little bit of a John Mayer tone. Like what are you digging? Like what are you grooving to when nobody's looking?
I mean, so like it's kind of an obvious. There's a lot of John Mayer on my playlists, but there's this band that I like called Laney. That's kind of where I get a lot of my inspiration from, because it's like this pop that just, I don't know, just I love the chords they use, because it's not just like electronic pop. Like there's actually some like musicality like involved in it. Like there's just a lot of interesting chord voicings and a lot of chord choices. So it would probably have to be like Laney, John Mayer. There's a lot of Jason Mraz on the playlist too.
Very
Yeah.
cool. All great choices, and I could hear a little Jason Mraz to hear it for sure in your like how your lyrics move. You know.
Yeah, I love the way
Um,
he'll just like rap and like sing. That's kind of a huge inspiration for me.
yeah, I like that too. Actually, it's fun.
Mm.
So I just want to thank you so much for being a part of this. We're gonna hear a lot more from Cooper later. You're gonna sing us another song, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're going to get into Elvio's interview here since we already have Elvio. Hey, what's going on?
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being a part of this. So, Elvio, you are Rochester's sweetheart. That's for sure. You know, I can't say
Oh
the
boy.
one thing I truly, truly love about you is that I remember I've been in Rochester about 13 years. Um, I remember just hearing about Uncle Plum and hearing that they were like the big band in town, and I was just getting my bearings, and it took me like a good year and a half before I even found the music scene here, where I was just getting my bearings. But you've been a central part of the music scene for quite a long time, and now you're out there doing amazing things, representing our scene, you know, nationally and beyond with Doubtry. Tell me about your experience working with Doubtry. So you're writing, you're playing keyboards, guitar, and you're singing backups.
Mhm. Yeah. It's been quite a ride. I've been with Daughtry for 8 years now,
I
and
can't believe that.
I know it doesn't seem like it, but it's been, it was 2012 when I joined, and it was just one of those things where um, I had a friend who was on American Idol the same season that Chris was on, and those two became friends on the show. So naturally,
Oh,
my
wow.
friend would talk about me to Chris, because he and I used to work. My friend Ace Young and I used to write together, and Ace would come to Rochester for, you know, a week or two at a time. He would stay with me. I had a little studio in my home and back in Greece when I lived there, and we would write and produce and stuff. And then he said one day, he's like, "I want to try out for this show, American Idol." And I was like, "Dude, do it. What do you got to lose, you know?" So he gets on the show and does really well. Him and Chris become friends. And then he starts playing Chris some of the stuff that he and I had done. So Chris knew of me. And then fast forward, after the show, um, we started writing music. And then my friend Ace and I and my friend Greg also, we wrote a song. We were like, man, this sounds like a Daughtry song. So we sent it to Chris. Chris liked it. That started kind of a working relationship with he and I. And then I asked Chris one day, I said, do you have any songs that are unfinished that, you know, you kind of like, but you just haven't finished them? And he's like, yeah, actually I have an idea I want to send you. So he sent me this idea for a song called Crazy, and I ended up finishing it. And then that ended up on the third Daughtry album. It was an album called Break the Spell. So that, I was thrilled after that. I mean, I was still here doing Uncle Plum, and I had a real estate career and doing solo stuff and playing with John Akers. And once that happened, I was like, man, if it ended there, I would have been thrilled. I would have never expected to be able to have a song on a major album release, you know?
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, it's my most prized possession. I have a gold record with my name on it from that. And it's like, if it ended there, I would have been thrilled. And I was showing a house one day working for Remax, and Chris called and basically said, I'm getting ready to go on tour to support this album. Do you want to, you know, I want to add a utility guy. Are you interested? And I actually said, I'm interested, but I can't do it. I have a family here. I have a career here. I can't just, it's not feasible. So I went home that night, told my wife that Chris had called, and she said, what did he say? And I said, well, he wants me to go on the road with him. And she's like, what did you say? I said, no, how are we going to do this? And she basically said, look, we've got a lot of support here. I want you to do this. You've been working your whole life. You may never get that call again. So once I had her blessing, I went and rehearsed with them, and 8 years later, it's now become my life. So it's cool.
That's an awesome spouse, by the way. I'm sure
Yeah,
that wasn't easy for her
she's
to
the rock
do.
star. Yeah, she's the rock star of the family, not me. Like it would never be possible if it wasn't for her support. So
You guys have been married for how long?
it'll be 20 years in November.
My goodness, that's amazing. Yeah. It's not an easy lifestyle for a spouse or a significant other to adapt to, and to have her support. I'm sure that means the world. And I'm sure your boys think you're a superhero, as you are.
How about that?
Well, you're such a proud Rochesterian. When you're on the road, are there things, I mean, aside from your family, of course, like are there any delicacies or anything that you think of like, man, I really wish I had access to this right now?
Well, aside from the obvious garbage plate,
Yeah,
every once in a while
right.
you have this craving, and you try to explain it to people that aren't from here, and they think you're nuts. They're like, "What? That sounds disgusting." I'm like, "No, trust me." Abbott's.
Yeah,
There are
Abbott's
many
is
times.
good.
Yep.
Abbott's is real good.
And Wegmans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could see that for sure. Anytime my friend from Nashville comes to visit me, he's like, "We got to go to Wegmans."
totally.
People are so obsessed with Wegmans. It's funny.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up as LVO? Like, or do you come from a musical family? Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother who's a gifted chef. He's unbelievable. So my upbringing, I was a jock all through. I was a big sports kid. I played soccer, baseball, and basketball in high school, and I kind of hid my musical abilities because it just wasn't cool in my circle of friends. Like it was one of those things where, unfortunately, all the jocks hung out with the jocks, and the theater people and the musical people. It just wasn't cool when I was in high school, so I kind of hid it. But my close friends knew that I played keyboard and dabbled in music, but I do come from a musical family in the sense my grandfather was an incredible Portuguese guitar player. So my entire family they're immigrants from Portugal.
Okay.
They're actually from a small island off the coast of Portugal called Madeira Island. Same island that Cristiano Ronaldo's from. So there's our claim to fame. But my grandfather was an amazing Portuguese guitar player, and my mother would sing, and they used to play what would be the equivalent of our blues. It's their version of the blues, where it's a lot of improvisation. My mom would make up songs and verses, and it's the most beautiful sounding music. It's hard to describe, but it's called fado, F-A-D-O. And I just remember being a little kid, like really, really young, hearing this beautiful sound, and just it resonated with me. And then my aunt bought me one of those little toy pianos when I was a kid, and that's when my mom figured out that I had an ear for music. I play completely by ear, and so songs would come on the radio, and I would start playing along, and it freaked her out. She was like, I don't understand how you're doing this. And that's when I think, they realized that I had a gene. That's the only way I can describe it. Is some people can look at you and draw a perfect portrait. They have that gene. I had the gene where if I heard something, I could play it. So they obviously encouraged it. And I mean, as young as I can remember, I was always playing piano and just being, enthralled by music. And that's really, I was a product of the 80s. So it was, you turn on the radio and it was those 80s one-hit wonders, and I would just play along. And, there's a lot of Elton John and Billy Joel and the Police and Michael Jackson and all that stuff. It was whatever was on the radio is normally what I would listen to, pretty much growing up.
I love the Police. The Police is so cool. I've
was
been
the
listening to them a lot lately.
First album I ever bought was Synchronicity.
That's awesome. Yeah, Sting is pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's
Really
incredible.
fun to listen to.
Yeah.
What advice? I mean, we got into a little bit of Camp Rockstar. I mean, did you grow up going to camps? Like, did you
Oh,
ever think, like, growing up as a kid, like, oh, I wish there was a music camp, or I wish there was a music camp when I was that young around
yeah,
me?
I mean, we didn't. That's my biggest thing with Camp Rockstars. I want to give these kids, first and foremost, I want them to feel like a rock star, because I just think that, we grow up in a society where social media becomes, the benchmark of whether or not you're cool or not. You know what I mean? How many likes did I get, and this and that, and unfortunately, their self-esteem is based upon their approval on social media. And I think that's awful. And I want kids to feel like rock stars. So, when I first started this camp, that was the premise. It was a 1 week camp, and we pick up the kids in a limo or a tour bus. We drive them around. We make them feel like rock stars. Put them in band.
Awesome.
Put them in bands, and then they work with pros. And then we put on a show on Friday. And it's, for a lot of these kids, it's their first time on stage feeling like a rock star. And the crowd goes nuts, and you can just see it. It changes these kids. Like they're
Yeah, they'll
confident.
never forget that for as
No.
long as they live.
And is it about music? Essentially, no. It's about, if your kid leaves my program with this much more confidence than he or she came with, then we did our job. You take that
Sure.
throughout life. But, I just want to give these kids opportunities that we didn't have as musicians when we were younger. When we were younger, if you wanted to join a band, you got in a band with your friends, you got in somebody's garage or basement and sucked for years until you figured it out. And you had to fight for gigs. Nobody wants to, give you an opportunity. So I want to be that opportunity for these kids. I want my kids to obviously work hard, learn from professionals, learn things like how to be pro, what's the gig etiquette, how do you treat a sound man? What's it like being in a team environment where you guys have a common goal of learning a bunch of songs and actually playing a show, and then giving them these shows, like finding opportunities for them to go on stage. I mean, we've played Lilac Festival, Love and Cup, Iron Smoke. These kids have opportunities that are unheard of at this age, and that's kind of what I want to keep doing. I want as many kids that feel like they're not cool because they're musicians to come to us and realize that they are cool and get on stage and do their thing. So
That's really special. And, I failed to mention this earlier, like, because we started the show a little late. But, today's theme is opportunity. And I just feel like you've served so many beautiful opportunities to the youth of Rochester, and what you're doing is such an amazing thing. And I remember the first time I had that feeling on stage, and it turned my whole life upside down,
Yep.
So, and I do what I do today because of that moment. So thank you for providing so many with that. And, the past two guests we have Cooper Scotty today, but Maxed Out is also a part of Camp Rockstar.
Yep.
There's so much talent in this community, but I think about if every community was to have an LVO, and
Oh.
this happened, in each city, how much more of an uprising of gifted children we would have, So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that.
Well, my pleasure.
And, last, I just want you, if you could leave us off with any advice for, everybody. Right now, people are pretty down. We're on lockdown. You had a tour that's on hold, right?
I mean, I am literally
It's affecting
unemployed.
literally everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm unemployed. It was just
Me too.
like a lot of people. Yeah. So, I mean, advice, honestly, I really think, I don't want to get too spiritual, but I really do believe this. I think the power of your thoughts is very important during a time like this. I feel like if you're negative and you keep thinking, woe is me, and this is, we're not going to get out of this, and I'm not going to be able to, to have the life that I had before, that stuff is dangerous. Like that thought process is very dangerous. I think we need to try to take some positive out of this and say, you know what, like for me, for example, I'm looking at this as I've been gone for 8 years. I've missed birthdays. I've missed holidays. It's a double-edged sword. I'm grateful that I get to play music for a living and provide for my family, but I've missed so much. And now it's almost like the universe's way of saying, hey, we're going to make up for lost time. So I'm with my
Yeah.
family all day long, and we're hanging out. But I really do honestly believe that the power of positive thinking is a real thing, and the universe is gonna give you what you put out there. So just be positive. We'll get through this. And you know, it doesn't make sense, and I know a lot of kids are scared, but we'll be okay. You know, we just have to believe that, and we have to put that energy out there, or it's, you know.
LVO, 100%. Thank you for that. I mean, you summarized basically how I'm going to end the show, but yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for being a guest and
Thank you.
for laying on some wisdom and for sharing your gifts with the world. You're
Thank you.
amazing.
And
Hey,
thanks
Cooper,
for
let's bring it back to
thanks for
you.
having
You
our
want to
kids.
play us? Oh, anytime. Cooper, let's bring it back to you and play us. So you're going to play us your song. It's titled Low Life. And you could find this on your album, which is titled
Young Strange Love.
Young Strange Love. And you could find that on
iTunes, Spotify. I mean, just pretty much anywhere you can listen to music, really. It's on all of those.
Awesome. And your website.
CooperScottyMusic.com.
All right. So if you dig Low Life or the song that you heard before this, make sure you check out Cooper Scotty's music beyond this program. He's got a lot of his songs on Reverb Nation, and you could download them. Cooper, take it away. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, it means a lot.
Pleasure.
Way up gray, we should go our separate way. For the best ain't working out. Now you're back with me playing games. Oh no, yeah, you broke my heart and you never took the blame. After all of the time that you put me through hell, and then I wished you well and pretend that it's well. It was so hard to tell when you scream and you yell. But I don't wanna suffer again. You're such a low life. You don't know what is right. Wish you could see the light in my life. You're so out of sight. You're such a low life. Baby, you don't know your wrongs from your eyes. Yeah, you're such a low life. And I think you have no right to come back into my life. Because you always got me stressing out, you keep guessing, because you never be confessing, girl, you test me, you be the death of me. But you're a sight for so high. You're such a low life. You don't know what is right. Wish you could see the light in my life. You're so out of sight. You're such a low life. Baby, you don't know your wrongs from your right. Yeah, you're such a low life. I always assume the very worst from you. No reason not to. Oh, that you didn't think that I had a clue. No. You're such a low life. You don't know what is right. Wish you could see the light. My life, you're so out of sight. You're such a low life. Baby, you don't know your wrongs from your right. Yeah, you're such a low life. You're such a low life. You don't know what is right. Wish you could see the light. My life, you're so out of sight. You're such a low life. Baby, you don't know your wrongs from your right. Yeah, you're such a low life. You're such a low life. You're such a low life. You're such a low life, and you're such a low life.
Woo, Mr. Cooper Scotty. Thank you so much for performing. You sound awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I can't thank LVO and Cooper enough. This is our second episode and we'll be airing Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Before I leave you off on this amazing Monday, I want to leave you off with a little thought. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to become something more than what we were. Keep your mind exercised. No doubt these are challenging times, but there's a positive takeaway to all of this. We are now granted the luxury of time. And now it's up to you to take that time and do something meaningful with it. Because before all of this, I would always joke with my son. He would cry, I don't want to go to sleep. I don't want to go to sleep. I'd be like, man, I wish somebody would tell me to go to bed. And not have any guilt about it in the end, right? The truth is, society's programmed us to move forward. Society's programmed us to move around the clock, and the clock never stops. We spread ourselves thin with commitments and are only present only physically most of the time. Maybe I'm not speaking for everybody, but I know I'm not alone on this when I say it. For the first time, the game is on pause for everyone. All at the same time, we're all on the same page. The clock still ticks, and life is still happening. So now we have the opportunity to take a look at the lives we've worked so hard to afford. Now is the time to absorb. Now is the opportunity to face those fears, take those risks because you have nothing to lose. Now is the opportunity to strap on some sweats and take in your surroundings, reconnect with nature and reconnect with your soul lost somewhere in the wilderness. Now is the time to hold your children a little bit longer, to read them that extra story or run around the house, act silly, and to actually be present when you're playing. Now is the time to pick up that dusty instrument or take those lessons that you always wanted to take. Now is the time to educate yourself on something new. Now is the time to pick up that paintbrush or write that story. Now is the time to cook or to learn to cook. Now is the time to fix up your home the way you always wanted to. Now is the time to clean out and sort through old things that that no longer have any purpose. Now is the time to focus on you. What makes you happy? What makes you feel loved? What makes you feel good? Who makes you feel good? What is next for you? Reset, unwind, enjoy the time. Opportunity awaits. Cheers. I'll see you guys Wednesday here at 1 p.m. with a brand new show. Be featuring Aaron Rizzo on music, business professional Matt Rammerman, owner of the Green Room here in Rochester, recording studio. They both will be on the show. I look forward to speaking with them. You guys have an awesome Monday. Thank you, Cooper Scotty and LVO.
Yes, thank you.
You.